Hi, I'm Ben. Welcome to my book corner. Today we're doing a tag video. I want to first of all say thank you to Aylin over at Linacha Books. I will link their video down below for tagging me in this. Go check it out, say hi. So this is a series of 10 prompts. We're going to take the prompts, we're going to answer as best we can. Hopefully, because I know there's one of these that could set me off on a hell of a tangent, hopefully this will not be too long a video, so let's just jump straight in with number one. Also had to write them down because I have no memory. What's in a name? If a book were to be written about your life, what would the title be? I mean, my life's not that interesting if I'm completely honest. And I'm confused all the time or getting into arguments with people who I should know better than to get into arguments with. And I like setting fire to things. So we're going to have to set this book next to a campfire somewhere. So it's a fireside chat. So, A Lost Man's Guide to Befuddlement. Finding your way the long way around. Because I don't make anything easy on myself at the best of times. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm confused. I don't even know why I'm doing this. Please help. Send help. What I would like to know though, what would you name a book about my life? Especially those of you that know me quite well. I'd love to know. Drop it in the comments. Anyway, that attempt to get engagement over. Number two, oops, is a 4-letter word. Have any of your books fallen victim to tragedy, and what factor played a part in your books? I presume that means what did I do to destroy the books? Now, if you believe Noah at In Between the Lines, I destroy books on a daily basis, which is almost totally not true. However, I have had plenty of book disasters over the years. Some are simple ones, like being an idiot and dropping coffee all over them, which, you know, is a stupid thing to do. The worst thing, though, is I let animals do books once. I used to have a bookcase in my living room many years ago, and I used to have a dog who it turned out had some brain issues and had some mental issues, which we didn't realise at the time, which made him randomly go incredibly hyper aggressive. And one day when we were out, he decided that books were not his best friend and destroyed my bookcase. Or more specifically, the books on the bookcase. The bookcase itself was perfectly fine. Such things that he destroyed included a full set of Encyclopedia Britannica from when I was a child. So at this point, they'd be over 40 years old now. He also did this too. This is a first edition of Eragon, which, you know, is now almost literally spineless. It's just about still bound. And the one that really gutted me, and still does to this day, is he destroyed my copy of Terry Pratchett's The Last Hero. This is an illustrated Pratchett book, illustrated by Paul Kidby before he sadly passed away. Fortunately, the insides of the book are still intact because this is a beautiful book. If you haven't seen it, but you're a fan of the Discworld, I don't know if you can still get this actually. But this has some beautiful artwork telling a story about Cohen the Barbarian and what happens when the gods let a pawn get all the way across the board, basically. I mean, look at the artwork. That's my favourite example in the entire book. But beautiful book. Slightly less beautiful now because of that, but there's ways to repair it, no doubt. I might actually look into that at some point. Anyway, number 4. I forgot what number 4 was then. The sound of silence. It is said that silence is golden. When reading a book, can you comprehensively read among the chaos and chatter, or do you require a hushed atmosphere? I don't mind about noise. I normally have music or podcast on when I'm reading. It's not usual for me to be reading when I'm out and about and like on a bus, so you've got the hustle and bustle of the public transport going on as well. I can read in a hushed environment, I just tend not to. I like music, and normally I like to have multiple things going at the same time. I don't read and watch TV though, because that's a terrible idea. I do try and match music to the mood of the title I'm reading, but that can sometimes have disastrous consequences. So, yeah. Number 5, it's all in the details. Choose 5 words that best describe your feelings towards book banning. pointless, censorship. They're the first two that come to mind. Um, what else? What other words can we use? Short-sighted, which is technically two words, but hey ho. Um, I don't really think I need to go past that, to be honest. It's dangerous and it's stupid. Um, for many reasons, really, which I'll go into very briefly, and I will try and keep this brief because I have an issue with book banning, and anyone who knows me will have heard me go off on one about this. Book banning is 9 times out of 10 a form of censorship for a marginalised group in society. Historically, that has previously been people of colour, it's been women. More recently, it's aimed, especially in the US, it appears, because I believe 40% of attempted book bans in the US are aimed towards people which contain LGBTQ plus content. Now, what I will say is that I do believe in age gating in books. I do think that some books are not suitable for all ages to read, but that's a very, very different thing to talk about. But we live in the digital age now. The internet is a thing. If you ban a book, VPN, you're going to go find it, read somewhere else. I think it's Stephen King that has said many times, and has tweeted in the past, if a government bans a book, you want to read the book to see what it is they don't want you to read. And that's very, very important because it's about control of information a lot of the time. And, ultimately it's stupid because over time, that ban will be repealed. The last book to be banned in the UK, I believe, was in 1989. I could be wrong on that, so if someone wants to fact check it, that's perfectly fine. But that was repealed by the High Court and it was allowed to be printed. Now, it never got printed again. It never had a print run after its banning anyway. But the court turned around and said you can't ban it. So, yeah. It's always fun. I hate book banning. Book banning is just so pointless. It's so pointless. Number 6, it's never too late. Name a book with a villain turned good guy. I don't like the villain turned good guy trope. I like the good guy turned villain trope. First of all, I love a villain in books. So an anti-hero maybe pushes it a little bit towards that thing. Most of my books tend to be a bit more straightforward than that, though. You could argue that Fitz in the Tawny Man trilogy by Robin Hobb started off as a villain due to the fact that he was an assassin for the royal family before his bloodline was revealed and the truth about who he was. And I say the Tawny Man trilogy, I think that he's been in 9 books at this point. So, because I think you've got the Golden Fool trilogy and there's another one as well, which is more recent. But the one I like to sort of cite is from the Discworld, and it's Lord Vetinari. And this is not really in one book. He's described as a tyrant. His aesthetic is that of a villain. He's an assassin, a trained assassin. He is known to be dangerous. And he's a dictator in charge of the biggest city on the disc. But the more you get to learn about his character over the multiple different books, this is someone that truly does care about the people under his stewardship. And it's made perfectly clear by the 3rd book that, first of all, Ankh-Morpork has had far, far worse people in charge. Is Vetinari a good person? Probably not. But what he's doing is actually better for the city as a whole than it would be if he wasn't there, because some of the people looking at you, Lord Rust, who would take over if Vetinari ever fell, are incompetent fools, to put it mildly. Whereas he sees the city as a smoothly oiled machine, and everyone's life is better with him in charge, which is not the same as becoming a good guy, but he's certainly not a villain like he's portrayed, especially early on. Number 7, it's a matter of preference. Throughout your reading journey, what one specific thing do you enjoy tirelessly having described to you? For me, it's not a physical thing, but I love the sort of politics of court being described, Wheel of Time does this very, very well, which some people find there's a lot of padding in these books. A lot of it is pure description of the political systems and the interplay between those and how complex that is at times. I love the intrigue that some books can build into them between organisations and people and families and bloodlines, and it can really help inform the world that that book's taking part in and explains why the world is as it is. That's for me personally anyway. But I love descriptions in books in general. I love vivid descriptions as a rule of thumb. So, number 8, that's a wrap. Name the one book that you feel completes your physical, audible, electronic, or mental library. I don't know what this means. So I'm going to pick a couple of books that mean a lot to me for different reasons, because they're all kind of cornerstones of my reading journey in many regards. So the first one is a Pratchett book, unsurprisingly. I've spoken about it before. Hogfather. I have got a review of this up on my channel. I'll link that above. This book I got when I was 14-ish, 97. And this book is what really got me back into reading. It's not the book that got me into the Discworld, bizarrely enough. That came later with Reaper Man. But this story really got me into reading. And the irony is that this was bought for me through a book club. And this was the 5th book for the offer that you needed to get. And I only picked it because it was an interesting cover. Something that I still do, actually. I do still cover ban, which is a bit of a bad habit. So there's that one. Another one is The Wheel of Time series as a whole, but specifically The Great Hunt. That really hooks me on the Wheel of Time series. Wheel of Time for me is my favourite book series ever. I am planning on doing a reread of that at some point, but there's a lot of books in that series, so that is quite an undertaking. And the third book I'm going to mention is one that I've read this year, which is I'm Not As Well As I Think I Thought I Was by Ruby Wax. This is kind of a memoir / journal about a 6-month period thereabouts where Ruby realised that she actually wasn't well and she was really struggling, and she ended up in a mental institution. And it's kind of a catalogue of the various different points that she hit during that period on the lead up to going into the institution. And it's a really interesting read, especially if you're someone like most of us have at this point, who has had mental health challenges, especially over the last few years, because COVID obviously had a massive impact on many people's mental health as well. And you know, I don't know about other places, but in the UK in particular, mental health services are incredibly overstretched and incredibly underfunded. So just reading that was in many ways quite eye-opening, for me personally anyway. So next one is Lending a Hand. Recommend 3 booktube channels that need a boost in subscriptions. I will link these all below as well. So the first one I'm going to mention is a good friend of mine. Aileen already mentioned them on her video, but I want to mention them as well. And that's Jaleesa at Reading Beyond the Book Cover. So Jaleesa does a variety of different videos, reviews, vlogs, wrap-ups. Also has her own website, her own podcast. She's everywhere, and it amazes me that she only has, at time of recording, 59 subscribers. She deserves so many more. Her videos are a real vibe to watch. Go and check her out. Go say hi. Give her a subscribe. We love you, Jaleesa. The next one is one that I found through another channel a couple of months back, and that's Traben's Tomes. Relatively new channel, only has 53 subscribers, 20 videos at the moment. A variety of sort of tag videos. You've got reading reviews, so on and so forth. Go check it out, some really good content on there as well. And the final one I found just because of a comment on one of my videos, and I'm currently working through their back catalogue of videos that they've got, and that's Jilly Wonka. 138 subs, 69 videos as of right now. Last one was about a week ago. Really enjoying her content. Slowly but surely working back through the back catalogue. Like I said, this is a recent find for me. But go check her out. Really good. And that leaves us with number 10. Tag 3 unique and enjoyable booktube personalities to do this tag. I always get a bit leery about tagging people in videos. Especially if the people that I don't know, especially because I don't tend to leave many YouTube comments as a rule of thumb. But I have 3 that I want to recommend. The first one is MJ at Reading This Life. MJ gave my channel a shout out a couple of months back, which I really appreciated. She has so many videos. She does reading wrap-ups, vlogs, reviews, also does small booktuber support group, which, as I said, mentioned me in a video a couple of months back, which I really appreciated. And just such a fun vibe from her videos. So I would love to know, MJ, what your answer to some of these would be. The second one is Jack at JTH Books. Again, this is someone that I watch as often as I can. I have never commented on a video. I apologise, I really should do, because I've had some great book recommendations from Jack, which I've gone off and read. The most recent one was Frontier, which I have not dropped a review of yet, actually, but really enjoyed that one. Yeah, great content. Go give him a check out. I'd love to know what his answers are to this as well. And the final one, and I don't know if they do many tag videos, I know they have done in the past, is a author and booktuber, pardon me, called Dane Cabane. Writes horror books, does vlogs. It's not just a booktube channel, there's all sorts on there, so there's a great variety of content. Go check him out. So, I think that's everything. If you watch this video and you're a booktuber anyway, and you want to do this tag, I'd love to know what your answers to all these questions will be. Also, I don't know what the sound's going to be like because I'm recording this on a phone, but, you know, fun times. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.